Hi, I'm Kendra, speech-language pathologist with almost 30 years of experience. Let's face it, our healthcare system in America is broken. So I'm here to provide you with free therapy. Today, I want to talk about expressive language delay. Have you ever wondered why your kid isn't talking? Are you concerned that your child, who's 1, 2, maybe even 3, isn't saying any words? Or if they are saying words, it's only a few. You go to your pediatrician and your pediatrician says, they're fine, let's just wait until the next visit. Or we're not really concerned about that until they get a little bit older. Well, pediatricians are not schooled in speech or language development when they go to med school. And brushing you off is definitely not going to solve the problem. And it's definitely not going to alleviate your anxiety about your kiddo not saying any words. Kids usually begin to talk around 1 year of age, some even before that. By the time a child is 18 months, they should have a 50-word vocabulary. And they should be putting 2 words together. If your child is not saying any words by 18 months or even 2 years, there's a problem. Under IDEA Part C, every child is eligible to receive an evaluation to see if they qualify for speech and language services. You can find that information that is specific to your state under the CDC website. Did you know that there have been studies that have been done linking expressive language delays with handheld device use? As a matter of fact, each 30-minute increase in handheld device use translates into a 49% increase in an expressive language delay. What does this mean? This means that your kiddo should not be holding an iPad or a cell phone. When we use our cell phones and we engage in texting or social media, what it's teaching our brains is to scan and shift from one thing to another. In order to talk, your kiddo has to have an attention span so they can learn language. A typical 2-year-old should have an attention span of 4 to 6 minutes. That's the main reason why having a handheld device, whether it be an iPad or a cell phone, is resulting in a language delay. We all need attention to learn things. We all need to pay attention in order to understand what someone is trying to teach us. And if all we're doing is scanning a video and then shifting to the next video, then we're not learning. We're not learning language. Therefore, if we're not learning language, we're not talking. So the first thing that you can do to help your child on the road to speaking is limit or eliminate technology. The second thing that you should do is get your child's hearing tested by an audiologist. Even if your child passes the universal newborn hearing screening when they are in the hospital, you should still get your child's hearing tested. And the reason that I tell parents this is because kids can develop ear infections, kids can develop clogged tubes in their ears, and if they're not able to hear you, they're definitely not going to repeat what you've said to them. Even if your child has never had an ear infection, you should still get your child's hearing tested because you can't imitate and you can't repeat what you haven't heard. And you don't want to start therapy and be 3 months, 6 months, 9 months into therapy and go, why isn't my kid talking? And then have someone say, oh, when was the last time his hearing was tested? When was the last time you took her to see an audiologist? It's usually a pretty quick and easy test. And again, it can provide valuable information as to the foundation of language, which is being able to hear what someone says. The other thing you can do if you're worried about your child who's not talking is make sure that they're understanding language. I know this seems counterintuitive. I want them to talk, not follow directions. But before we speak, we have to understand what it is someone is saying. So receptive language, or our ability to understand what someone is saying, comes before expressive language. So if your kiddo is delayed and not saying words, make sure they can follow simple directions such as touch your nose, where's your head, go get your shoes, I can't find daddy, where is he? You also want to make sure that your child can respond to his or her own name. This goes hand in hand with getting your child's hearing tested. If they can't hear you saying their name, they're definitely not going to respond to their name. And if they're not responding to their name when you call them, they're definitely not going to be using words to speak. Gestures are also an important foundational skill for learning to talk. And why is this? Because gestures are symbols. And a symbol is something that represents something else, like the American flag is red, white, and blue with stars. But what does that flag symbolize? It symbolizes freedom, it symbolizes opportunity, it symbolizes equal rights. That flag is a symbol for ideas and foundations that our country was built upon. And language and gestures are the same thing. So if your child's not talking, teach them to point. Pointing is an important skill. What does that tell you? It tells you your child knows, hey, I want you to look at that. Even though they're not saying the words, I want you to look at that, they're pointing with their finger, which is telling you, hey, mom, I want you to look at that ball over there because that's something that I am interested in. Another gesture you can teach your kiddo is clapping. Clapping is a symbol for happiness or enjoyment, or I really like this activity, let's keep doing it. So put on some music and teach your child to clap. Clapping, again, is a symbol of I like this. So even though your kiddo can't tell you I like this, they're clapping. And that clapping stands for I'm enjoying this activity. Two other great gestures are yes and no. So teach your kiddo how to say yes and how to say no by shaking their head. However, I have to caution you, when you teach your kiddo how to say yes or no, make sure it's always something that you're okay with them saying yes to. So if you say, do you want a cookie? And your kiddo shakes their head yes, but you don't want them to have a cookie, that's not a good learning opportunity. So if you don't want them to have a cookie, don't present a cookie as an option. Present something that you're okay with them having, like time outside, or a book, or a game of tag, or a game of catch with the ball. Dancing is also another great gesture. It symbolizes body movement and happiness and expression of how you feel. So put on music and dance around the house with your kiddo to help them get on their way to learning how to talk.